Township government.
Mm-hmm.
Do we need to keep township level of government?
Yeah, I do believe so. And that's based on my conversations with the rural communities. Are there improvements that I think need to be made at township government? Yeah, I think that there are certain township governments that they abuse the system, maybe spend a little bit too much money, maybe have too many relatives working there. So I think that township government could certainly be improved, but it's necessary. I really believe it is. It's the closest thing to grassroots government we have. It's the closest thing to government by the people. If you eliminate township government, for instance, up around northeast Allen County, if that's gone, and you're going to have somebody sitting at the city-county building making decisions for Harlan. And I don't think they can make... I had a really good example where the mayor, I was talking to the mayor of Woodburn, and his brother is the township trustee up there. He said, yeah, you know, a guy came in and he needed $500. And, you know, my brother, Brian Hebner, knew that he was a painter. And he said, you know what? I know you're out of work. I know you need the money. How about this? We need some rooms painted in here, and if you paint the rooms, I'll give you the $500. And the guy said, nah, I don't want, no. So he didn't give him the money. And that works. That system works because he was in tune with the community. Somebody in downtown Fort Wayne probably doesn't know that this person maybe was a painter or you know, they really, and the other thing that made me, that really showed me that it works and there's a sense of community involvement, the Amish community every 2 years puts on a big auction, and all the proceeds go to the township fire department up there in Woodburn, all of them. And I just think it's wonderful that, you know, the Amish community wants to give back.
Mm-hmm.
And there were over 3,000 people there for this auction. I mean, it was huge. And I had an awesome time. I mean, I had a great time up there, met a ton of people. And I just looked around and I thought, would this, if township government did not exist, would there be this sense of community and togetherness and let's work together to support our fire department? You have a huge, obviously, when you talk about emergency services at the township level, they're volunteers. And if you eliminate that, will you still have the volunteers? Will you lose the volunteers? Because in essence, you might lose that sense of community. That it's a non-tangible there that we have to, as government officials, we have to be aware of other things other than just what's on the balance sheet and the P&Ls. You know, It's more than just, okay, let's slash this number, let's slash this number. I mean, what are the social impacts if you do that? And I think if they eliminated township government, it would have a negative impact on communities in general, especially those rural communities. And you know, and that's really more when you look at the rural communities, a good majority of their revenues go towards emergency services. And a lot of times when you go into the urban communities, a higher percentage of that is for poor relief. And obviously that's equally as important to make sure that folks who really need help continue to get help. And once again, like the example up in Woodburn, if you have a township trustee that is in that area, they are in tune to what's going on better than if we eliminate township government and give the responsibilities to the county.
Mm-hmm.
So I like township government. I'm a big advocate for township government.
Okay. 200 East Berry, Renaissance Square. Any feelings on county getting involved with that as far as moving some things over?
Well, I'm disappointed I've not had a tour yet. No, I'm just kidding. I want to see that marble floor or whatever that is, you know, the whatever that Greek design. I don't know. I don't know. I think that we'll probably look back on that. Everybody focuses on, you know, the new building that was purchased, the Renaissance. What the
Renaissance Square.
Square. They've kind of changed the name.
Yeah, 200 East Berry.
Yeah, whatever you want to call it. Everybody's focusing on that, but and it was a big expense, and it seemed like we really rush to buy it. And I guess in an economic downturn, I don't understand why we rush to buy it. I mean, I don't know if anybody else was going to come in there and buy it a week later. Or maybe they knew something that we didn't know, but that was one thing that was maybe, if there was anything bothersome, that might have been it. And it was very expensive. But rather than focusing on that, I look at how we really address the needs of the police departments, the county and the city, because the county, they were looking to maybe build a new facility, and it was going to cost, about $15 million, I think?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it was going to be pretty expensive, and the city was down on Creighton in that old building. So really, we kind of killed a few birds with one stone. So even though the purchase of the Renaissance building was rather expensive, now all of a sudden we don't have to spend $15 million on a new sheriff's department, and we don't have to spend big money on a new city police department. We're able to combine them. And I think that long term we'll look back on that as being a pretty good decision. I really do.
Mm-hmm. Any ideas? There's been some talk about what would go where. There's been some talk about what they're calling a development team.
Mm-hmm.
In other words, permitting and water and
Yeah.
sewage and all that kind of being in one place. Do you think that's a good idea?
Yeah, I mean that's one of the big criticisms that I've heard is you have to go to like 6 or 7 different places if you want to get permits. I mean, to build something, or you have to go here for zoning issues, and you have to go here for that's one of the good things about it. I think is they're going to have an entire floor dedicated to that. So, and any time you can have more. I think that would improve the efficiency of that process. I really do. And maybe once they're under one roof, they can really get a better understanding of the dynamics of what each of these places that used to be in several locations did, and maybe streamline it even better.
3 commissioners? Are 3 better than 1?
Well,
or 1 better than 3?
Here are my thoughts on that. For starters, I mean, I'm not in there yet, so I don't know. Unless you're really in there, you don't see what the commissioners do from day to day. But from an outsider's perspective, I would be in favor of 1 county executive or 1 commissioner. And here's my thoughts on that. Right now you have 7 people on county council. It's a fiscal body. You have 3 people handling executive and legislative duties. What I would probably propose, at least throw out onto the table, is say, all right, let's eliminate about $160,000 worth of salaries and get rid of 2 of those commissioner positions and have 1 executive. And let's give the legislative authority to the county council. So now all of a sudden you're saving money by going from 3 to 1, and you're giving some of those responsibilities to 7 people. So now 7 people are going to be making that legislative decision instead of 3. And because sometimes I think with only 3, you might have 2 of them that team up on the 1 all the time. And I don't know if that was the case now, but you lend yourself to that. And I think if you have 7, you're gonna find that that's less likely to happen. And I think that they can come up maybe with a more thought out, better decision with 7.
Mm-hmm.